Stockholm is just a couple of days away. Tell us how you feel going into this card.
Feeling great. Everything has gone according to plan, and now it's just, fighting on Saturday.
Before we get into this particular card and this particular fight, can you just clear up a rumor? We've just been hearing a few things this morning that there might have been a potential fight between you and Anders Michael. Is that true? Can you deny or confirm that? There were some rumors going along this morning that there was a potential fight or sort of argument between you and Anders Michael. Is that true? Anders Michael, isn't that the Andreas Michael, the coach?
No, that's not true at all. I don't know who talked about that, but that's only bullshit.
Okay, so that's completely false.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now we can move on.
Okay.
So this time when you fought in Stockholm last time, it didn't go your way. Is it finally a chance for you to perform in front of your own people, your nation, and try and get a win this time?
Yeah, no, I have 2 wins after that, so
yeah.
I mean, it's just another competition. Doesn't matter if it's home or if it's overseas, but I'm here to do what I do always, do my job and do the best of it.
You're facing a very experienced fighter, a guy who's actually fought many ex-UFC fighters as well. How do you see John Blankovic as an opponent?
Well, John, he's a very tough fighter. He's very skilled and experienced, so it's a good challenge, and it's nothing that I underestimate him or something. I know that he has a good experience, so.
It's no secret that he's a very good grappler as well. How do you think about that when you approach this fight in terms of game plan, or you don't really care where the fight goes?
I'm just I do everything to prepare myself the most and take the fight from there.
Do you think that going into this fight with the rest of your camp, there's a lot of promotion behind All Stars, there's been some videos by the UFC, has that added extra motivation in the camp to prepare for this fight?
No, not really. Of course, it's nice when you get more, the team gets more attention of the good work that they're doing, but we're all motivated all the time, even when the media is not there. We have our goals and our dreams, so we struggle for them every day.
Leading up to this card, the entire year, there was a lot of talk of a potential fight between John Jones and Gustafsson and stadiums, and there was all this talk. How has this card been received by the Swedish MMA fans?
I think the most of the fans are very happy to have the UFC back in Sweden, but of course there's maybe a little bit disappointed that Alex isn't fighting here, of course, because he's a big star for what he's done to the sport, but he has his plans, and his future is coming soon. He has fights coming up soon, and it's like this sometimes.
This is a pretty big fight coming up. Obviously, your debut was against a very known fighter. The odds were against you. It wasn't short notice. Now you're coming off 2 straight wins, 2 finishes. You're fighting on the main card. You're in a home country. Do you feel like the stakes are a little bit higher again compared to your last 2 fights?
Well, I never think about the stakes or the odds or something. Every fight I prepare myself for my toughest fight, and right now I'm focusing on this.
And you've got a very strong wrestling background. Obviously, your old nickname used to be Lyftkranen for Malmö, the crane for Malmö, because you could throw guys around. Is that how much you feel you've developed from that? Do you still see yourself as kind of a guy with a wrestling background, or do you see yourself as more of an all-around mixed martial artist?
Wrestling is always going to be my background, but as a fighter, you always try to develop yourself and become a better fighter, a more complete fighter, and that's the aim and the goal.
Back in Dublin in July, you were so happy to be able to perform in front of the Irish people, and you described the atmosphere as something that you've never experienced before. What kind of atmosphere do you expect on Saturday night in front of the Swedish people?
Yeah, I know the crowd is going to be amazing here in Stockholm, like the one in Dublin. Dublin was such a nice feeling fighting, and I truly loved the Irish crowd and the support, And there are fighter people, they have fighting in their tradition with boxing and this. And in Sweden too, they're very proud of their athletes, and especially for MMA being such a new sport, the publicity and the acceptance has gone very fast the last 2 years.
There was some breaking news last night. I don't know if you've read about this, but Kung Lee, he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, and he's been suspended now by the UFC for 9 months. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's never good for the sport when these things happen. But I mean, UFC they're taking more and more harder regulations and controls and tests, and they're doing everything to prevent this in the sports. And in like all other sports, there are always gonna be people that cheat. But I think the UFC is doing a good job to control this.
Do you think a 9-month suspension is severe enough for that performance-enhancing drugs?
I'm not the right person to answer that. If how long the penalty should be, but I think the UFC will come out with a good evaluation.
How important was Gustafsson in the preparation for your fight?
Well, Gustafsson, he always helps me out. We always help each other out before our fights, so he's always there with me, helping me train.
And have you got a game plan going into Saturday?
My game plan is to win.
Can you elaborate on how you're going to be winning?
I'm going to finish. That's my goal.
If you win...
Andreas! Come here. I don't know. They just asked me a rumor that we had an argument a couple of days ago. I said, I said that's some bullshit.
Is that true? Or
Yeah, it's as true as pink elephants. I don't know what that's about. There's many rumors, many urban legends.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Everything is okay at the All-Stars team.
Yeah.
We the only time we argue is in the training when he's pushing me too hard or too little. But that's
usually
only love.
too hard though.
Speaking of training, I've seen tons of videos where you do these incredible athletic feats. And despite your size, you're very stocky, and very, very, very broad, very muscular. You're very flexible. How much sort of aerobics types training and physical training like that do you do?
Well, mostly of that training comes from my wrestling background that I did all my life, and it's something that's in the spine, and I like to complement that because many guys can be strong, but it's harder to be strong, fast, and flexible. So that's my aim.
Don't infringe some copyright there, Fast and Furious.
If you do win on Saturday night, do you think it's time you got a top 15 opponent and maybe even get ranked in the top 15 yourself?
Yeah, why not? I mean, whatever they put in front of me, let's do it.
Speaking of that,
focus on Saturday.
yeah. Well, speaking of that, I was just wondering, how do you perceive the rankings? Because some fighters put a lot of energy into it. They think, I want to fight this kind of opponent. Some fighters don't even care about the rankings. How do you feel?
Like I said, I'm not thinking so much about it. Every fight I get, me and my coaches, my team will focus on that fight and to do the best out of it. So, yeah, one step at a time.
Bringing together your physical ability as well as the skill you've shown in the octagon, do you feel you're one of the bigger monsters and one of the bigger threats in the light heavyweight division?
I don't think I'm so big for the light heavyweight division, but I try to do the best with the ability and the skills that I have.
Would you like a rematch with Musashi down the line? Obviously, you lost to Musashi having come in on very short notice. Is that something you're quite keen to do again in the future?
Well, Musashi moved down one weight class and he's been doing pretty well there, so I don't know his future, but it's nothing that I have had as a goal to fight him again. But like I said, in the future, whatever the UFC has the plans for me, that's what I'm gonna do.
So how many homeboys from Malmo are making the trip up to Stockholm to see you fight on Saturday?
Too many.
Too many. And they're all asking you for tickets?
I don't think the arena is gonna fit all of them.
Yeah, we'll see how many of them I know as well. Now, just finishing off here. Like you said, you're not the biggest light heavyweight. Is there any part of you that has ever considered a move to a middleweight?
No, actually no. I often hear that you should fight in middleweight, but I cut pretty much weight, and I have a pretty strict diet before my fight, so I don't think of cutting too much weight as an advantage. I think instead of being strong, fast, and good in that weight that I fight, and I know that I have that capacity, so it's not necessary.
So you're comfortable where you are?
Yeah.